All right, Fresh. So let's go to our next game. It is the 76, a gas station there. It's the Birmingham Bowl. Now, I never saw 76 gas stations until I moved down into the South, and even now it's still few and far between. Hey, the 76 Birmingham Bowl we can just refer to this as the gas station bowl, actually. It's the Troy Trojans. They're 11-2. And then it's against the Duke Blue Devils. This game is on December 23rd. At time of record, Troy is a 7.5-point favorite in this game. Yes, folks, the Troy Trojans are a 7-point favorite over the once highly ranked Duke Blue Devils, as I can try to get that out. Over under set of 43.5 in this game, Fresh. Fresh, no Riley Leonard. He's off to Notre Dame. Jaquez Moore, Jordan Waters, both leading running backs, are gone. They got a lot of other things. Watkins on Duke is gone as well. He was kind of a lower level receiver, but you take a look at what does Duke really have. I know that they've had with Grayson Loftus and Henry Berlin the fourth, with Leonard having the injuries throughout, or Beelan, sorry, not Berlin, there's no R there, but having the injuries throughout the year. Is Duke prepared for this game? Are they actually, because they've gone through a whole lot? They lost Mike Elko and our guy from the Miami coach that was hired, and I'm losing his name.
Manny Diaz.
Manny Diaz, thank you. I was sitting there thinking Cristobal, and I'm like, that's not. He hasn't gotten fired from Miami yet. Keyword yet there. All right, Fresh. I don't know. I think this game Is Vegas trying to bait us into be like, hey, we're going to give all of these points to a Sun Belt team against an ACC team? And Troy's got a pretty good quarterback in Gunnar Watson. He is looking like he is playing in this game. 27 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He's a senior. We talked about guys having a swan song. What you got for me, Fresh?
Well, I almost busted out laughing when you mentioned Grayson. I thought, was Grayson Allen going to come play football for Duke in this game? He's going to get a couple nights off from the NBA, suit up in there, put some pads on. He'd probably step on somebody for sure. I mean, that's a fact. But, when we look at this game, this whole season, both these teams have two very stout defenses. And they've obviously both lost their coaches because both these teams were successful. Last year, this is back-to-back years, Duke has been in a bowl game. They had injuries late in the season that kind of derailed their success. If you watch the Florida State game when Riley Leonard was playing, they were actually leading the Noles until the fourth quarter. He got hurt, and it kind of fell apart from there, and the whole season kind of fell apart from there. This is a team that's depth has been tested for Duke, where now you're obviously having Waters go out, the backup running back go out, some of the guys you mentioned is there. That depth that was already being tested is now we've really stretched to the limit of who is actually truly ready to play, who's the coaching staff, and some of these kind of turnover spots with Manny Diaz coming in. You're probably gonna have some grad assistants, some mid-level assistant coaches taking the reins and running practice right now just to transition the bowl period with guys who are second, third teamers, maybe some walk-ons, just filling and getting playing time. And most of those coaches, do they even know if they're gonna be on staff next year or not? They're just trying to hey, we got to get through this ball game. Do we really have our hearts in it? The motivation for them, though, is if they coach well enough, that gives them maybe a chance to get a job somewhere else or stay on staff. So you have a little carrot there in front of the stick, but what are we going to get? Not many people really know. Are the guys playing for Duke, or are they just going to sort of out there and go through the motions, get ready for Christmas after the fact when the game's over and head home? This is a real key thing right there, because that team, I thought they truly had bought into Mike Elko and the thing that he was bringing there and trying to build there in Durham. And to see a guy who I think they all thought was going to stay or to depart after 2 years and go to Texas A&M, it kind of feels a little deflating, a little gutted, maybe to the fan base and to the players. So do they really feel into this ballgame motivated with most of their studs, obviously not playing or even no longer with the program? So where's that psyche for Duke when this ballgame comes? On the flip side, Troy, back-to-back Sun Belt champs. They have a 23-4 record in the past 2 years. They've lost this year 16-14 to James Madison. That was a 2-point loss to JMU, and they lost to Kansas State. Last year, they lost to Ole Miss and App State. And App State lost. That was that crazy Hail Mary after they come off that win of A&M. all the pandemonium and game day in town. This team has been very, very good the past 2 years. The depth has been there. The guys have played through, and they've played for each other. A real testament to Coach Summerall and why he got the job at Tulane in this ballgame, getting this program off the map and really to play hard for each other. Troy's allowed only 306 yards a game, which was tops in the Sun Belt. They also allowed 17 points a game, tops in the Sun Belt, and they recorded 45 sacks, which was tops and tied with James Madison for most in the Sun Belt. This defense is aggressive. They play smart. They play disciplined defense. And they get after you and they tackle at point of contact. They do not allow yards after contact. They do not allow breaks. They don't allow large gains. They collapse on you and they get you down to the ground and they get off the field when they have to. You mentioned Gunnar Watson. I think the 3,000 plus passing, 27 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. Kamini Vidal is the real key, the running back. Second leading rusher in the nation, run for 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. If I was him, I would not be playing in this ballgame. I have not heard stories if he's opted out, transfer portal, whatever. But he's a stud. Ground games can definitely help them and gives that Watson, a chance to really have that play action ability and the passing game to really develop. The two of them have really given offense and a really major spark to this Trojan program. Paired with that way that defense has been playing, they've become a very behemoth in that conference. Do they want to go out and cap off another great year? Last year they beat UTSA in the bowl game. This year they have a chance to go in with a little more firepower, go out and get back-to-back bowl wins and finish 24-4 in 2 years. That's a heck of an accomplishment. I like where their psyche is. I like where they are as a team. And you know what? I think those guys actually want it a little more. We talked about which team wants it more. The smaller schools, the guys who are happy to be there, Duke going through the motions. I think Troy actually comes in and Troy wins and they cover the spread. They take care of business. If Duke's just too depleted right now on the depth chart to be able to go up against a program that has players who are hungry and willing and ready to make a statement, they are truly a legit program. Give me Troy covering the spread. I think this is going to be a very eye-popping show. And I think they win by double digits, actually. They win by 10 plus.
Wow. That's impressive there, Fresh. I have a tendency to agree with you on this, though, because I think Duke has really just taken a kick to the rear on this one and just been kind of I don't want to say completely depleted, but really hurt by the loss of Mike Elko. When you battle all the injuries that you have gone through this year, you take a look at where Duke was at one point in the season and then how much they've fallen off. And then you take a look at a program like Troy. 10 straight wins, start off the year 1-2, and have rattled off 10 straight. Their 2 losses on the year, Kansas State, really good football team over there, Manhattan, and James Madison. Both of us think very highly of James Madison as well. Troy has their weapons with them. And I think that's what makes it an easier game for Troy here. This game's is close to home. And again, easy travel for the Troy Trojans going over to the Birmingham Bowl. I think that this game is setting up very, very nicely for them. Let me give you a name to watch, though. Chris Lewis. He's not in the transfer portal. That kind of shocked me because Chris Lewis looks like a wide receiver that should be at a Power 5 school. Kid's 6'5", 32 catches on the year, 700 plus yards, 10 touchdowns. He's got that build of a Power 5 wide receiver. Now, maybe he's going through bowl season. That transfer window is open till, January 2nd. So as he go through the bowl practices for Troy, balls out in the Birmingham Bowl, and then winds up entering the portal after Christmas. Who knows? I don't know. It's just something that jumped out at me very weird. Why is he not jumping in there, but maybe he doesn't have an offer there? But with Duke losing their running game, really, because they've lost their top 3 leading rushers, someone's got to either really step up or it's going to be a long afternoon for the Blue Devils. Fresh, give me Troy here as well. Man, I feel like Vegas is trying to bait us in taking Troy in the points there. But you know what? I'll take the weapons and I'll live and die with that one. So give me Troy and the 7.5.
Christian Leitner's not walking through that door. Trajan Langdon's not walking through that door. Grant Hill's not walking through that door.
I'm glad you put the Alaskan assassin in there along with Grant Hill.
Trajan. It's a great name. Trajan Langdon. It just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Cavs back in the 90s, I believe. Great pull, though, Fresh. I love that name.